Sean, I know parting ways with a coach isn't never easy. Can you explain what went into that decision to move forward without Jacques Vaughn?
Yeah, thanks, Megan. I think first and foremost, I do want to thank Jacques for his time, his leadership, and the commitment that he's shown, for the last sort of couple of seasons with us as a head coach, and then obviously his entire time here with the Brooklyn Nets. It's been a fun partnership. We've had our ups and downs, like every organization and so forth, but I look back very fondly on the time with JV, and I want to thank he and Laura and their boys for their commitment to the organization and the community and the team as a whole. So, we owe them a lot for that. What goes into decisions like this, as you said, they're never easy ones. They're ones that I certainly do not take lightly. You hope you don't have to make these decisions. But at the end of the day, we're in a results-driven business. And, I look back and I say, well, this isn't where this team needs to be, and this is not the direction that we need to be heading in. So that's when you have to make these tough decisions, and you move on from here, and hopefully it sends a message to not only the group of players out there on the court, but it sends a message to the fan base, it sends a message to this organization as a whole, that our expectations are more than what we're currently living up to.
I know you mentioned about this team not being where it needed to be, but why make that decision right now at this juncture of the season?
I think a couple of things. When you have the All-Star break fall where it did, it gives us a time to reflect a little bit, look back, and sort of take a deep breath and say, okay, well, where are we heading to? What have we got? What's out in front of us? And with 28 games to go and 55 days before the playoffs start, it's time where we can get some movement with this group. And the expectations for Kevin as the new head coach here is to come in and get that movement, to get help, and he won't be doing it alone. It'll be a team effort with obviously the front office, performance, and everybody else. We're all striving for the same thing at the end of the day.
How much did the loss in Boston right before the All-Star break factor into your decision making?
I think that's one thing. I think it would be a little silly of me to say, well, it was that and that was it. I think when you get to a juncture here and you've had the last 2 months that, as I said before, quite frankly, we have not had the results that we wanted to have. Again, you look at the grand scheme of things, and you look at the record over the last couple of months, and you look at the direction of the team and where it's, potentially trending. This was an opportunity to make us, make a change at this particular juncture. Not just one. There was no one event that I look back and say, well, it was then or this. It's a group of. We look at it globally, I would say.
Sean, you talk about the grand scheme of things. What do the players need to do? What does the team and you need to do to make this the kind of attractive place? I mean, that you get free agents. I mean, where you were a couple of years ago. What do you need to do?
Yeah, well, that's a great question. I think first and foremost, we all need to take accountability for this. I need to take accountability. I mean, the roster is my responsibility. I'm not shying away from that. And when you have to make a decision like moving off a head coach, it's not entirely JV's fault here. I mean, this is, we can all look in the mirror and say, well, what could we have done differently? What could we do better? I think we do need to get back to playing hard and competing. I mean, that's what the Borough of Brooklyn deserves, and rightfully so. And I think we've seen that in the past where we've had a group of young men go out there and compete and have a chip on their shoulder. You've heard me mention that before. I think that's really important that's how guys approach their season, and both individually and as a group and a team, and we haven't done that so far this season. So I hope there is movement in that regard where Brooklyn becomes, a destination, a more of an attractive place for free agents to play. I'm not overly concerned about that. I think we've done it before. We've shown we can attract top-tier free agents and so forth, but right now our focus is going to be on this group of young men, developing them and making sure that they put themselves in the greatest place to succeed.
Sean, you said that there wasn't one moment that you could look back on and say this would be different. It's been a very obvious change in the way you guys have played since December 27th until now. You're 500 to that point. You're 6-18 since then. With that game in Milwaukee, how much responsibility do you take for the decision to rest those players in that game, which in the past Jacques Vaughn has said was his decision? And do you think you've lost the team with the way that game is played and the way it's played out since then?
Yeah, look, I know that's being talked about. Firstly, I don't think we lost the team that day. I think there were comments made, obviously, and I appreciate the fact that, players want to play. They want to play in night in and night out. Again, I don't think that was one decision that ultimately affected the record or won this decision to this day. I think a lot of things went into that, Tim. So, you know, at the end of the day, when we make decisions, you know, like to, you know, sit a guy out or what have you, there's a reason behind that. And, you know, many of those guys who were out were hurt that day. I mean, and I think when JV looks at it and says, hey, Sean, like, you know, what are we going to do? We're going to play, you know, a group that isn't at full strength or even close to being at full strength against a team. We're looking at, again, globally. We're looking at long-term, what's the best thing for this organization long-term, not just one game.
So was that fully his call then?
Oh, I think that everything here was made as a team call. Yeah, not just JV.
Did you canvass the feeling in the locker room before you made this decision, or did some of the players come to you to express their opinions?
No, when you make a decision like this, you know, I'm soaking as much of this in. I obviously, you know, talked to Joe a lot about these decisions, but this decision was not, we were not involving players in this decision at all.
Sean, you talked about accountability, that you've got to take some.
Yeah.
Do you feel pressure now to get this next coach right? You've hired several coaches now. You know,
I feel pressure at 5 a.m. every morning. So every morning when you wake up, there's pressure, and I think that's the only way to do it. Like, I mean, I hope we all feel pressure. It's pro sports, but you know, I don't take it lightly. You know, when you have to have moved on from a coach, you got to reflect on that and say, okay, well, what went wrong? What could I have done differently? What could we have done differently? Do we support them enough? Do we have the right roster? So again, as I said, I absolutely take accountability, you know, for the roster, and you debrief on this and reflect on it, say, okay, our objective now is to find the right coach for this group of young men and what it looks like moving forward for that guy.
Sean, looking ahead globally, looking ahead globally, like you say about the team, you've had Kenny, you've had Steve that are first-year guys. Just curious, looking ahead, I know Kevin Ollie right now is a first-time coach, but do you say to yourself, well, maybe now we need a guy that's had previous head coaching experience versus a guy that would be coming in as a first-time guy? Like, is there a mandate to have someone that's had previous coaching experience?
Yeah, there's definitely not a mandate to have that. I'd hate to already cut the field down. I think it's really important that we cast a very wide search web for this. It'll be the same thing we've done in the past. I mean, we've had very robust searches in the past. I hope we have the same one here. We've got time. I mean, I'm here to support Kevin. I mean, that's the main job right now, is to support him and this current staff. We'll look at a vast variety of candidates. You know, like always, you know, they're not going to be publicized. I don't do that. So I know you guys are going to ask, like, well, was she, you know, were they part of this search firm? That's just not the way we work here.
You talked about Kevin Ollie, and we've heard the players talk about what he's meant to this crew, this group, this season. What did you see in him that made him the right choice to be the interim head coach?
Yeah, it's been fun to watch Kevin grow and watch his and really hear his voice. You know, he's always carried a great voice in there. He's very direct with the players. He does hold them accountable. I've enjoyed watching his scouting reports in this, and you know, he's played and won at a very high level. So there's after you know a 13-year coaching career, I think there's very few. Playing career. I think there's very few things he hasn't seen or hasn't been a part of. So I think what makes a good coach is to be able to put yourself in those players' shoes, be able to tell great stories, and be brutally honest with guys. And I think those are attributes that Kevin absolutely has.
Beyond the specifics of wins and losses, what are some things over the past several weeks you haven't liked in terms of what's gone on, in terms of the play on the court, and what are you hoping to see change as you hope to have things turn around the other way over the next few weeks?
Yeah, I talked a little bit before. You know, it's about the level of compete. You know, we're not going to be the most talented team in the league. You know, I'm not, you know, an idiot. I totally understand that. But at the same time, this is a talented group of young men out there, and I think there's plays and my expectations, and I think their expectations should be to hold each other accountable, to do all the little things, the effort plays, you know, the loose balls, the contested shots and so forth, diving on the floor. I mean, these are things that should be expected. When you're in the place that we're at right now, where we're clawing and grappling for every single thing we can, that's what I would hope to see over these next, you know, 28 games. And that's probably, to be quite frank, some things I haven't seen. You know, the level of effort and the level of compete has not always been there.
Sean, how concerned are you that there is keeping this level of continuity? Because obviously 22-23, Steve gets fired, you bring Jock in, you have the trade, now you have this. How concerned are you that the continuity can continue with so much change really over the last 15 months or so?
Yeah, I think our ultimate goal is to certainly have continuity. You know, we'd love to see it. I think we've looked around the league and looked at a variety of different sports, and things change, you know, all the time. You know, that's certainly not the model that we want. And when we bring in, whether it was Steve or JV, there were reasons why they were brought in, and you know, I think it's about the particular roster they were coaching at the time. I mean, I think you look back in JV's record last year, and he'd done a heck of a job. You know, I mean, the guys were fully bought into him, and they were behind him, and there was a great winning record there with those guys. So, you know, I think you just look at what roster you have and what sort of the time horizon you have, and that'll tell us what coach we need to be looking for, and not only the coach, but what players will be here long term.
To Evan's point, obviously you've had a lot of turnover in the last year and change. Is there a concern that when you start talking to coaches and free agents, they may think that this is an organization that's not stable?
You know, I would hope not. I mean, I think it's in some way it's pro sports. It's unfortunately the world we live in. I couldn't have predicted the last 5 or 6 years, like none of us in this room could have predicted. So the ups and downs, the ebbs and flows that not only we've gone through, but everybody's gone through. I think I could make, you know, every excuse, but my job isn't up here to say, well, we all had to go through this, that, or the other, and the continuity from injury and so forth. So I'm going to move on from that, focus on these guys right now, and you know, as I said, we've shown the ability to put this franchise, you know, at the top of the map, and that's the plan to do again. And we want this to be a destination where not only free agents want to come, but where we can develop our own guys. And we've shown we've done that in the past. We want to do that again. And you know, we've got our own free agents to recruit. We've got to show them that there's a path to win here, and that's really, really important, not only for them but for our fan base as well.
Sean, with this upcoming coaching search being your fourth during your time as GM, does that make you reevaluate the process that you've gone through in the past in hiring head coaches, given the amount of turnover in that time?
You know, I think you always reevaluate whatever your process may be. From draft to draft, you sort of debrief on it. You look at it and say, well, what could we have done different? You look at the same for free agency, same for hiring, you know. So I think we'll definitely look at this. You know, we've got some time. As I said before, we're going to here to support Kevin, and it'll be fun to watch how this team grows under him. But 100% we have to look at what the candidates that we look at for, you know, how they translate not only the rest of this season, but for into next year, you know, and that'll determine, you know, who is going to lead this franchise in the future.
Sean, to your point of having this team having its own free agents to recruit, was that one of the biggest factors behind making the change from Vaughn now to finish strong down the stretch and make Brooklyn, you know, appear to be a destination worthy of bringing in some of these top name guys?
Yeah, well, I think at the end of the day, all our players want to win. I mean, that's the most important thing, and we've got to get back on a winning track. I mean, we're not doing it there. So if we want to attract not only our own free agents, but we want to attract whatever it may be to come here, you know, in future years, we've got to show them there's a pathway to win here. You know, I think there's a very clear pathway from draft assets, cap room, and space, and everything else that we've got. You know, we haven't had a lot of those things in the past, so I think there's a pathway there to do it. And I think this city speaks for itself. I mean, we've shown it's been very clear that people have wanted to come here and play in the past, and there's been no shortage of, you know, it's not as if my phone wasn't ringing the last 48 hours to people wanting to come here. So yeah, it'll certainly be a robust search, and at the end of the day, I have no doubt we'll find the right person to lead this franchise in the future.
Did Joe give you a mandate that you have to make the playoffs this year?
No, there's no mandate on making the playoffs. I think that is a goal, without a doubt. I mean, there's 28 games to go. You know, I think that's in the back of everybody's mind. But as Kevin just addressed the team in there, we're going to take it day by day. We're going to get better every single day. There's a level of accountability that we expect from everybody. And you know, if you pile those days on together, you know, the results at the end hopefully will come to fruition. And the goal, without a doubt, is the playoffs.
What was your message? What was your message to the team just coming back from All-Star break with a decision like this, and what was that like just to kind of all come back together again?
You know, it's always good to see everybody again, especially when, you know, we've been through one, a break, and two, like a break where there's probably a lot of questions out there. So there were some questions from the guys, and I think Kevin outlined exactly what his expectations expectations are from on the court, and I outlined exactly what the expectations are for this group as a whole, and that's to play hard, compete, and give it everything they've got every single day and support one another. I mean, we've got to be bringing the best out of one another, and that's going to be really important, and hopefully we see that come out to play in every practice, and you guys will see it in every game.
Last one, Brian.
With this being the fourth hire in a reasonably short time span, are you as confident as you were, whatever, a month ago, 2 months ago, that you'll have the same latitude or leeway to make the hire that you would want?
Yeah, look, Joe and I have always been, in complete partnership, and it doesn't mean we always agree. I mean, that's, you have to have good discussions and robust discussions, but Joe and I will make this decision, and he has given me no reason to believe that I won't be able to make that decision. So, we'll take a lot of factors into account as we make this. I said we've got time. We're not going to be in a rush. There's going to be a robust search, and by the end of this, I have no doubt that we'll come and find the best person fit for this job.
Thanks, Sean.
Cool. Thank you, guys. Cheers. All the best.